Your phone buzzes, you type sure instantly, and 5 minutes later you feel trapped. Next time, say, let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. In a second, I'll show you the Friday night test where they push, and how you hold the line without sounding rude. You're at your kitchen counter in a hoodie, laptop open, half-eaten dinner pushed aside, when your phone lights up with a text from a coworker. Hey, can you cover my shift tomorrow? Just this once. Your stomach drops because you already know what you're about to do. Your thumb starts moving before your brain finishes thinking. You can feel the old pattern loading like an app. Say yes, smile through it, and then get mad later. You say yes too fast, and you hate yourself for it 5 minutes later. Use this today, exactly this sentence. Let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. Say it once. Then stop talking. In the next 10 minutes, you feel your shoulders loosen because the request is no longer sitting inside your chest like a trapped animal. You're not trapped. You bought time. You didn't create a fight. You didn't commit. You created space, clean, simple space, where you can actually decide. Educational content inspired by classical Stoic texts. Not medical, psychological, financial, or legal advice. This won't rush you, but it will keep you from spiraling. Because the pain isn't vague. It's not people-pleasing as a personality trait. It's that exact moment. Someone asks, you panic, you agree, and then you live with the consequences while the other person moves on. You get locked into extra work, extra errands, extra emotional labor, and the bill always comes due at the worst time, late at night, when you're tired, when you're trying to rest, when you're trying to be present at home. And you pay that bill with resentment. You pay it with a bitter edge in your voice. You pay it by becoming less generous over time because you keep giving in ways that feel like betrayal. This is costing you your focus because you can't protect your attention when anyone can interrupt it. It's costing you energy at home because you arrive already spent from all the sure, no problem you handed out during the day. And it's costing you self-respect because part of you knows the truth. You're not choosing your life. You're reacting to whoever pressures you first. So here's what you're getting out of this, concretely. You're going to stop the auto-yes reaction with one line that creates time. You're going to protect your time at work and your energy at home by learning a few durable scripts that don't require you to be aggressive or cold. And you're going to feel self-respect instead of resentment, not because you became perfect, but because you started responding earlier, right at the moment the trap is being set. If you want this kind of practical training to stay within reach, subscribing keeps it available when the next pressure moment shows up. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe. First, you'll learn how to create a pause that doesn't sound like an excuse. Next, you'll use a rule that stops you from committing in real time, especially at work. Then, you'll learn what to do when people push back, when they guilt you, rush you, or act offended. Finally, you'll step into one real-life scene where your old pattern almost wins, and you'll see what it looks like to hold your ground without turning into someone you don't recognize. And later, I'm going to put you in the most dangerous moment of all, when someone is staring at you, waiting for an answer, and you can feel your body trying to say yes just to end the tension. You'll have a sentence ready before your reflex hijacks your mouth. You're walking out of a pharmacy in a strip mall somewhere in North Carolina. It's cold, your hands are full, and you've got that tired end-of-day feeling where your brain is running on fumes. Your phone rings. It's a family member, someone you love, someone you've helped 100 times. You answer, and within seconds you can hear the urgency. There's a problem, there's confusion, there's stress, and you're being pulled into the role you always play. They say, "Can you just handle this for me? You're better at this stuff." "I don't have time. I'm overwhelmed." And you feel it, the automatic tilt toward yes. Not because you truly want to do it right now, but because you want the discomfort to end. You want them to calm down. You want to be seen as reliable. You want to avoid the possibility that they'll be disappointed in you. Here's the microscript, verbatim. "I can't answer that right now. Let me think about it and I'll get back to you." Don't decorate it. Don't justify it. Don't add the usual padding. You're not saying, "I don't care." You're saying, I'm going to choose intentionally. That's a grown-up sentence. It's not rude. It's not cold. It's clean. Why it works is bodily, not philosophical. Your nervous system reads urgency as danger. When someone comes at you with speed, intensity, or need, your body wants to fix it fast. And in your life, fix it fast has often meant agree fast. You've trained yourself to believe that saying yes is a kind of social first aid. It stops the bleeding, at least on the surface. But it creates a deeper wound. You start living with commitments you didn't choose. This sentence breaks the loop. It interrupts the reflex. It gives your brain a chance to come back online. It returns you to your values, because values don't live in panic. Values live in space. Now here's the friction point, the one that usually knocks you over. They push. They say, "What do you mean you can't answer?" It's simple. I just need you to do it. Or they hit you with the classic, "If it was you, I'd do it for you." That's the hook. That's where your guilt starts writing checks. So you use the second version, still simple, still calm, "I hear you. I'm going to think about it and I'll get back to you." Notice what you're doing. You acknowledge their feelings without surrendering your boundary. You're not debating. You're not proving. You're holding. If they keep pushing, you don't escalate. You don't lecture. You keep it steady. "I can't decide at this moment. I'll get back to you." This is what strength looks like in real life, not loud, not dramatic, consistent. Tiny action, measurable today. Choose one area where you constantly get pulled into instant answers. Texts. Phone calls. Work messages. Pick one. Then set a simple rule for the next 24 hours, no immediate yes in that area. Not a lifetime vow. A one-day experiment. When the request comes, your only job is to use the pause sentence and wait at least 10 minutes before responding. And if you want to make it even more concrete, set a timer when you send the pause. 10 minutes. During those 10 minutes, do nothing heroic. Just let the pressure cool. Because most requests aren't actually emergencies, they just feel like emergencies when someone else is anxious. Slow practice moment, brief, but real. Put one hand on your chest for 2 seconds and say, quietly, "Let me think about it." Feel the small discomfort rise, the sensation that you're not being nice. Then feel yourself remain safe anyway. This is training. You're teaching your body that you can tolerate a little tension without buying your way out of it with your time. Forward pull. Why this matters later? Because later, when you're dealing with work deadlines and family expectations and social guilt, you need a doorway back to yourself. The pause is that doorway. Without it, you don't choose, you comply. And compliance is where resentment is born. You're on a video meeting at 2:12 p.m. The kind where everyone looks a little tired and someone is always multitasking. Your calendar is stacked. You've got real work you're supposed to be doing. Then a manager says your name and drops a new task into the room like a weight. "Can you take this? It should be quick. We just need it by the end of the week." You feel the spotlight. You feel the social pressure. You feel that urge to prove you're capable by saying yes immediately. Your mouth is ready to sprint ahead of your life. Here's the mistake. You treat speed like professionalism. You think fast agreement makes you look competent, easy to work with, dependable. But what it actually does is train people to treat your capacity as infinite. It makes you the default bucket for overflow. It turns your day into other people's spillway. So the correction is a rule, not a mood. No real-time yes to new commitments. Not in meetings. Not on calls. Not in hallway ambushes. Not in quick question traps. And here's the script, verbatim, when the request lands: "I can't commit at this moment. What's the deadline, and what would you want me to drop?" That sentence is the boundary and the dignity in one. You're not refusing. You're not resisting. You're bringing the request into reality. Because reality has trade-offs. Why it works is simple. It forces the hidden cost into the open. Most people ask you for things as if your time is sitting unused on a shelf. They don't mean harm, they just don't see your full load. When you ask what drops, you make the load visible. You make the decision. You stop silently absorbing the impact. And there's another layer, it changes your identity in the room. You're no longer the person who reflexively says yes. You're the person who manages priorities. That's not selfish. That's leadership. Now the friction, someone says, it'll only take you an hour. Or, just do your best. Or the classic, we're all busy. That's where your old pattern collapses, because you try to be agreeable. You say, okay, I'll figure it out, which is basically code for I'll sacrifice myself quietly. So you stay calm and you repeat the reality, I can take it on if we decide what gets deprioritized. What should I pause? Same idea, slightly different wording, still anchored to trade-offs. Tiny action, measurable today, write this on a sticky note or in your notes app. Deadline? What drops? Then, the next time someone asks you for work, you don't answer until you've asked one of those questions. Even if it feels awkward. Especially if it feels awkward. Awkward is a small price for not being trapped. Pattern interrupt. Before you answer any request today, ask yourself, silently, am I agreeing to avoid discomfort or because I actually want to? Then take one breath in through your nose and one slow breath out. That's enough time to regain control of your voice. Here's a North American example with real friction. Your coworker pings you at 4:55 p.m. Hey, can you review this doc? Need it tonight. You know tonight is the one evening you plan to be home on time. Your body wants to type sure just to end the tension. So you use the rule. You don't commit. You ask for the trade-off, I can look at it tomorrow morning. If it has to be tonight, what would you like me to delay? You're not being difficult. You're making them choose their urgency with eyes open. Forward pull, why this matters later, because when you learn to speak in trade-offs, you stop being managed by pressure. You become someone who can handle pushback without folding. And that is the beginning of real boundaries, not just words, but behavior that holds under stress. Let's bust the belief that keeps you stuck. If I set boundaries, I'll lose people. Sometimes you will lose access to people who only liked you when you were easy to use. That's not a tragedy. That's clarity. But most of the time, what you lose isn't people, it's a role. You lose the role of always available. You lose the role of never say no. And that can feel like losing love, because you've tied being needed to being valued. Here's the instruction, with stakes, your boundary is information about what you will do, not a request for permission. If you treat it like a request, you invite negotiation. If you treat it like information, you stay steady. Now the script, verbatim, when someone pushes after you've paused, I'm not able to do that. I hope you understand. No explanation. No essay. No courtroom defense. And if you need a shorter version that still holds, I can't take that on. That's it. Here's a North American pressure example. You're at a family gathering, maybe a Saturday cookout. Someone corners you, hey, you're good with computers. Can you fix my laptop this weekend? You already know what happens if you say yes. You'll spend your only recovery day doing unpaid tech support, and you'll do it with a tight jaw and a fake smile. They push, come on, it'll take you 10 minutes. This is where people try to shrink your boundary by shrinking the request. But the size of the request is not the point. The point is your capacity. So you stay calm, I'm not able to this weekend. They push again, seriously? After everything I've done for you? Now it's guilt. Now it's a ledger. This is where you keep your boundary out of the courtroom. You don't argue about everything they've done. You don't get pulled into history. You simply repeat your information, I hear you. I still can't. That sentence is the spine. It doesn't attack. It doesn't crumble. It holds. Why it works? Because pushback thrives on your need to be understood. The moment you start trying to make them agree with your boundary, you lose your boundary. You start selling it. And the person who is pushing will keep negotiating as long as you keep selling. So you stop selling. You state. You repeat. You end. Slow practice moment. Imagine someone saying, "Come on." Hear their tone. Feel the social pressure in your chest. Now practice out loud. Once, "I hear you. I still can't." Keep your voice low. Don't speed up. Don't add nervous laughter. Let the sentence be complete. Let it land. Now let's add one more tool that makes this durable, the refusal without resentment. That means you don't punish them for asking. You don't snap. You don't shame them. You simply decline. If you want to be kind without collapsing, you can add one offered alternative that you can actually keep. "I can't this weekend, but I can point you to someone who can." Or, "I can't tonight, but I can check in tomorrow morning." The key is this: the alternative must be real, not a fake yes in disguise. And here's the tease: no resolution promised. In the vignette coming up, you're going to face the hardest version of pushback, the kind that looks like disappointment. The kind that makes you want to overcorrect. You'll feel the urge to walk back your boundary just to restore peace. And you'll practice staying steady. Anyway, it's Friday. Late afternoon. Your brain is already dreaming about quiet. You've told yourself all week, tonight you're going to reset. You're going to eat something decent, maybe take a walk, maybe watch something mindless, and maybe go to bed early. Not because you're lazy, because you're running on fumes. You're packing up your laptop when your phone buzzes. It's your manager. "Need a quick favor. Can you take a look at the client notes and send a summary tonight?" Your body reacts first. You feel that familiar urgency. A small spike of adrenaline. Your mind starts calculating how to squeeze it in. You haven't even decided, you're already rearranging your evening. Old reaction is already reaching for the wheel. You type "sure" and your thumb hovers over send. Then you catch it. Not with hero energy. With the smallest interruption. You remember the one sentence that buys your life back: "Let me think about it, and I'll get back to you." You send that instead. Instantly, the pressure shifts. It's still there, but it's outside you now. You're not holding it inside your chest. You created distance. 10 minutes of oxygen. Now you use the trade-off tool from earlier, because you're not avoiding, you're deciding. You ask yourself, if I say yes, what drops? What drops is your reset. Your sleep. The emotional recovery you've been craving. And you can feel the resentment forming already, because part of you knows that if you say yes tonight, you'll do it with a bitter edge. You'll do it with the feeling of being trapped. Your manager replies, "It's important. We need it for Monday." Here's where the old pattern tries to hijack you: if it's important, I have to do it. Your nervous system equates importance with obligation. But importance doesn't erase capacity. Importance doesn't create time. Importance doesn't refill your energy. You take a slow practice breath right there at your desk. In through the nose. Out longer than in. You let your shoulders drop a fraction. You're not doing this to be calm for its own sake. You're doing it to keep your decision from being made by panic. Then you respond with trade-offs, not excuses. "I can send it tomorrow morning by 10 a.m. If it has to be tonight, what would you like me to delay from Monday's priorities?" That's the line that changes everything. Because it forces the request into the real world. If they want it tonight, something else must move. If they don't want to choose, they don't get to demand. Your manager says, "Tomorrow morning is fine." You feel a wave of relief, but also something else, a quiet respect for yourself. Not loud confidence. Just the clean feeling of not betraying yourself. Now you're driving home and your phone buzzes again. It's a friend. "Can you talk tonight? I'm stressed." This one hits differently. Work is one thing. Friends are emotional territory. You care. You don't want to be the person who isn't there. And your old pattern has a specialty, giving when you're empty, then secretly resenting the person you helped. So again, you pause. You don't say yes out of reflex. You use the pause script, let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. They reply immediately, come on. I really need you. You feel the guilt hook. Your chest tightens. Your mind starts inventing reasons why you should sacrifice your evening. This is where you usually collapse, because you confuse someone's need with your obligation to fix it right now. So you use the pushback script, clean and calm, I'm not able to tonight. I hope you understand. You wait. The silence feels heavy. Your brain wants to chase it, to smooth it, to add a paragraph, I'm sorry, I've had a long week, I feel terrible, please don't be mad. That paragraph is your old strategy, buy peace with self-betrayal. But you don't send it. Instead, you offer an alternative you can actually keep, I can talk tomorrow morning for 20 minutes. What time works? This is what boundaries look like when they're human. You're not vanishing. You're not turning cold. You're choosing support that doesn't drain you into resentment. Your friend replies, fine. That fine has teeth. It's a small punishment. And you feel the sting. You feel the urge to take it back, to prove you're still good, to restore their approval. Old reaction almost wins again. You breathe. You let the discomfort exist. You remind yourself, their disappointment is not an emergency. Their mood is not a command. You can care about them and still honor your limits. Later that night, you still feel a little guilt. You still feel that reflex to fix things. This isn't complete. This is practice. But something is calmer and clearer, your evening is yours. Your body starts to unclench. You eat without rushing. You go to bed without that sour resentment that comes from agreeing too fast. The situation is still ongoing. Work will ask again. Your friend might still be annoyed. You might still feel the itch to overgive. But tonight, you didn't betray yourself, and that's the improvement that changes everything over Tim. The core lesson is this: reacting is agreeing to end tension. Responding is choosing your actions on purpose. Reacting scatters you, because your life becomes a chain of other people's urgency. Responding makes you intentional again, not because you control everything, but because you control the moment you commit. First we started inside that real pressure moment and you used one sentence to stop the auto-yes before it happened. Then you practiced holding the pause without explaining yourself into a corner, so you could decide from a calmer place. Next you learned the trade-off language that protects your time at work, because quick tasks always have hidden costs. Then you stress-tested what happens when people push back, and you practiced staying steady without turning your boundary into an argument. Finally, you watched it all inside a messy, real Friday where your old pattern almost took over, and you still chose a clearer response that protected your energy without cutting people off. Exactly 3 do-today steps. Use the pause one time today. The next time someone asks you for something and you feel that reflex to agree, say exactly, let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. Then wait 10 minutes before responding. Set a timer if you have to. Force one trade-off today. For any new request at work, ask, what's the deadline, and what would you want me to drop? Write the answer down. If they say nothing, that's a signal. You're being asked to absorb the cost alone. Hold one clean no today. Choose one small request you would normally accept resentfully and say, I'm not able to do that. I hope you understand. No extra explanation. One sentence. Then stop. Watch next. The next layer is dealing with the guilt hangover, the part where you set a boundary, then later you feel bad and undo it. A strong follow-up title is, Guilt is Not a Compass, How to Stop Walking Back Your Boundaries. That's the next step, because once you can say the sentence, your real training is letting it stand without negotiating with yourself at midnight. Subscribe for more Stoic Focus lessons like this, and I'll see you in the next one.